All right. Main event just wrapped up. Strickland versus Duplessis. Split decision. When it went to the decision, I was pretty sure that DDP was probably going to get it. I had a feeling it was going to be split either way that it went. Even if Sean would have got it, I thought it would be split. And I knew that the fans would not like it either way. If Sean was going to lose, they were going to hate it. That's what I said at the beginning of the fight. I said DDP has to get a finish for the fans to respect it because they love Sean too much to accept the decision, and I'm kind of seeing that right now. A lot of people are trying to debate it, but I thought it was a close fight. My prediction seemed to be actually a little bit backwards. My prediction was that in the first 3 rounds, DDP is going to be dominant. And the first and second round, third round, possibly, Sean could be in a lot of trouble because DDP is so aggressive. DDP has the power advantage. And DDP is just, just a physical fighter who likes to impose his will on you. But actually, I gave Sean the first round. And when it came down to the stretch, the 4th and 5th championship rounds, when I thought Sean would take over, I thought the 4th round was DDP's best round. I thought the 4th round was maybe the first time ever, at least at 185, that I seen Sean Strickland look like he's fading. He did come back strong in the 5th round, and I thought he won the 5th round. But in the 4th round, it was starting to look really bad. That cut opened up. DDP was starting to land. He was, getting the takedown at will. I think all throughout the fight, he was like, 5 for 7 in takedowns. Sean couldn't stop the takedown, man. DDP's just well-rounded, man. He's very well-rounded. He's strong for 185. At the weigh-ins, I thought that DDP looked way bigger. Actually, in the octagon, I thought Sean looked, actually pretty close to his size. I thought that he, leveled out after the rehydration pretty well. But as far as physical strength, when they got in the clinch, one time DDP got an outside leg sweep. It looked like Sean had the dominant position. DDP just overpowers him, gets the outside leg trip, takes him down. Pretty much was taking Sean down at will, and in the striking, he was going for. He does this a lot in his fights. He ducks his head and throws a left overhand. I know it looked It looks stupid. I'm not gonna say that. It looks stupid the way I just did it, but he ducks his head and throws like a looping overhand, and it was getting close, and he was missing a lot. He was missing because DC was even noting that Sean is very good at the lean back defense. But the only downside of the lean back defense, which I myself have used a lot in like kickboxing and training, and my coach always warns against it. It looks beautiful in the first round, but in that 4th round, when you start getting tired, that lean back instincts, the instincts start to lower a little bit, and that lean back defense is your worst enemy. That's how you get caught. Look at Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman. That lean back defense in those later rounds, when it's not as sharp as it was in the first round, that's when you'll start getting tagged. And I thought that's when DDP started to land. And also, when you use leaning back as your defense, when you keep leaning back, you're not really there to counter. Versus if you catch, you can throw back. If you roll, you can throw back. If you just block, you can throw back. But when you lean back, you're leaning out of range. Yes, you're leaning out of range where you don't get hit, but you're also leaning out of range where you now cannot counter, and you have to reset and set up your attack again. Instead of taking advantage of how out of position they might have been, the fact that you lean back puts you out of position to counter. So he wasn't able to counter, and for a lot of those times, even when DDP was missing, like I said, in the 2nd and 3rd round, I thought the first round Sean won that. The 2nd and 3rd round, even though I think DDP probably got those rounds, of course the takedowns kind of sways it even more in his way, but even in the striking, just because it looked like he was ring generalship. He's coming forward. and he's throwing nonstop. And yes, Sean is making a miss and blocking maybe 80-90% of these shots. But the fact that he's got you going backwards and you're not countering, it just looks bad to the judges. It just looks bad. You're backing up. Yes, you're not getting hit, but you're not landing either. And then as soon as you try to come back and attack, he takes you down. It's just hard to give that to Sean, even if he is, doing a great job with the defense. It's just hard to judge that for Sean. So I thought that the right decision was DDP. The fourth round was very impressive to me. And I've really never seen Sean look tired in any way. And he definitely looked like he was the one fading more than DDP. He got a second win and he came back in the fifth round. But if anybody looked like they were fading, it was certainly Strickland in that fourth. He was looking tired and he was constantly wiping at that cut. He did not like that cut at all. And the fourth round, when I thought it would shift in Sean's favor, was the exact round where DDP was the most dominant. So, yeah, DDP took it. I thought it was pretty clean. Next for DDP, he called out Izzy. I'm not going to lie. I don't really want to see that fight. Because like all the history that they have, everyone talking about South Africa, the apartheid state and the fact that, you're not a real African and you're not a real, whatever you want to say. Initially, that's a topic that I know a lot about. So I was kind of like invested. But now that Izzy lost, and also DDP just did that to Strickland, and also DDP has been nothing but respectful in all of his interviews and stuff, it's like I kind of like DDP now. So like the heat for that fight is not even really there because I don't know. We respect DDP now, so it's like you can't really make him the enemy now. I don't know. If they do that fight, I'd probably favor DDP right now, man. Izzy doesn't. I always actually said this, guys. If you look at all of Izzy's fights, and DDP doesn't fit this criteria, but DDP, when he faces someone, I'm sorry, Izzy, when he faces someone close to his height and close to his reach, he lost. Pereira, Izzy's like 6'4". Everybody he fought was like 6 foot, 5'11", 5'10". When he finally fought people 6'2" and over, Jan Blachowicz 6'2", lost. Alex Pereira 6'4", lost. That's a small sample size, but it's just something that I observed. I was thinking like he was really just beating up on guys that he had a massive reach advantage over, which is what some people said about John Jones at 205. People talk about weight bully. Are these the first height bullies or reach bullies? Who knows? But yeah, just to recap what's next for Drickus. I would honestly like to see Khamzat next. I'm a Khamzat fan though. Y'all know that I'm a Dagestan Russian neckbeard fighter fan. Those are my guys. I usually root for Russian fighters when they fight just because the style is just something that I think is very, very dominant. It's undeniable how dominant it has been. And I would like to see Khamzat maybe get the shot next. Just to move the division on, man. It's just the same people. Like, it was very refreshing to see, looking at that title fight, literally like, damn, this is the middleweight title fight. These are two new guys. I like this. Khamzat and DDP. Damn, this is two new guys. A guy defending the belt for the first time and a guy fighting for the belt for the first time. This is dope. Versus reinserting Izzy. Like, bro, we've seen a million Izzy title fights. A rematch with Strickland, we just saw that fight. Like, I'm just getting kind of sick of rematches, man. Everybody seems to get an instant rematch. Or you lose your title, you don't get the instant rematch, but then you get the first fight after that, they have to come fight you again. It's like, come on, man. We got to give people chances. Like, I know that UFC's new model, since they have ESPN Plus, they don't care as much about building stars, but like, you can't really build a star when you just continue to give the same guys rematches. Just like the 145-pound division. You can't build any stars if you keep letting everybody fight Max. And Max just knocks out all the Max knocks off all the contenders, bottlenecks the top of the division, and then him and Volk just have to keep fighting. Max is maybe my favorite fighter of all time. And even I say that that's not good for a division. When one guy just holds up that number one contender spot, knocks off all the contenders, and then you see no new faces in the title fight. I don't like that. I don't like that. So a rematch will be nice, but the fact that Strickland has no title defenses, I don't think that they're going to do it. So I think that they're going to do either Izzy next or Khamzat. I think maybe they could give Izzy the fight later. But if DDP's down for a quick turnaround, I would love to see maybe Khamzat at like UFC 300 if he can get into the US. Well, that's a three-month turnaround. If they want to stack that card a little bit, Khamzat's he's becoming a big name. Seeing him fight for his first title would be a big thing. But honestly, if they're gonna do it on UFC 300, they probably want to make it a spectacle, and they probably would do the fight that has the most heat behind it, which is Izzy. So I don't know, man. Great fight though. And continuing down the card, UFC 297. I guess I'll talk about the other title fight briefly. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna go full on Sean Strickland and shit on women's MMA, but it's just so hard to watch these title fights. It's gonna be so hard to watch these title fights going forward when the only thing that I think the entire fight, and the only thing that I think the entire audience is thinking the whole fight, and the only thing anybody thinks when they show her in the crowd is, wow, Amanda Nunes would beat the shit out of both of these girls. And that's all I'm thinking the whole fight. Wow. Amanda would beat the hell. Oh my God. Imagine what Amanda would do to her. Like, look what she just did right there. You know what Amanda would do if she did that against her? And then the first thing that they do when Raquel wins the title is they pan to the crowd and show Tisha Torres, her wife, hugging Amanda Nunes on some like, thank you for retiring so my wife could be the champion. Like, damn, that does not look good to help the division move on when Amanda's right there in the front row just to remind everybody, like, oh, yeah, this is the new champ. But, like, if she literally suited up right now, she could just beat the shit out of both of y'all, like, back to back, probably. So, the fight wasn't great. I don't have much else to say about it. Juliana Pena, I know a lot of people hate her, but I like her trash talking. I think it would actually make the division move on a little bit if y'all at least have somebody new to hate or care about. I mean, this fight, nobody hated or loved really either one of them, so it was just kind of like, cool, interesting, but whatever. Shout out Neil Magny, cash that in. But yeah, good card overall. Movsar Evloev. I told y'all, Russian fighter, Glazer right here. I called that fight. Very impressive performance from him. Very impressive. Number 9 beating, I think, number 3. He's gonna have a big jump in the rankings. He's a problem, man. He's a problem, man. If Max Holloway wasn't fighting Justin Gaethje, that could possibly be a fight. Max versus Movsar. But now I'm contradicting myself because that would be Max knocking off another contender. Maybe, I don't know, Movsar versus maybe Josh Emmett. What y'all think about that? Evloev versus Josh Emmett? I like that fight. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop yapping. Appreciate everybody that came to the stream. You guys know it. Every single card, we will be live. I will give you every single fight card unless I'm there live in person, which I'll still probably go live and show like the big screen, maybe, allegedly. The next fight card that I plan to go to in person is UFC 299 in Miami, and I probably will go to you. Or I'm not. I'll probably be in town for UFC 300, but I don't know if I'm gonna go to the card. Depending on how stacked it is, I'm gonna have to see if it's worth, because the prices are literally gonna be like probably $1,000 for nosebleeds. So I just gotta weigh my options depending on how good the card is. But I'm definitely gonna be in Vegas for 300 fight week. You know, I'll get content for the weigh-in and stuff, press conference, all that shit. I'll be there for the fight week, meet up with people possibly. But yeah, 298 is the next fight card up. We'll definitely be live for that. So make sure you're tuned in. Make sure you're locked in. I do all the fights, boxing as well as UFC. So in between now and then, I think the next fight up will be Fury versus Usyk coming up in February, as well as Volkanovski versus Topuria. Should be fun. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll